we're here. This is for the 2018 predictions issue of the Sedonal Journal of Emergence, where you will find the hard copy. Let's begin. You've passed through the experiences of your September, your October, November and December. Where you're coming is the going to call it the year of new beginnings. This is where you understand the processes of your thoughts, which is the reason why we have been telling you to pray. Because the thoughts are what brings the manifestations. Yet you're not truly aware of where your thoughts are coming from. Are they from the inside of you? They're coming from the outside of you. A lot of beings are watching the TVs in their phones for information, which stimulates the thought processes. Takes you in another direction from the upward spiral that you're in. You're in a form of blessings, we'll say, in reconstructing your patterns. And by that I mean the patterns of your body, the patterns within the beating of your heart, the patterns within your lymphatic system, the patterns within your breathing system, the patterns within the knowledge of consciousness that there's more to you than you're aware of yet. You're experiencing the outside and neglecting the inside. With the prayers, your thoughts are in alignment, because prayers that are given specifically have words for alignment. And the more you say them, the more alignment begins, which you call, with the conditions of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. The Son being humanity itself. It's not a gender. And when you understand these processes, you will understand, or begin to understand, the dignity of the human condition, because it's unique in what you call the expression of divine desire. And I'm not talking about the selfish sexual desires thing. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the accomplishments of the thought processes that you have worked with and seeing the outcome of the thought processes. And once that alignment starts taking hold in you with words that are in the prayers, you'll find your life becomes more peaceful, more gentle, more conducive to a greater understanding of yourself. In your year 2018, you're going to start thinking of things or persons or ones, and within a few moments of time, you make that connection of the thing, the person, or the ones in the physical. The excitement comes when the realization of how you did it, not just the fact of the result. Because once you understand how you did it, you think of more divine things, more sublime things, more healing for yourself and others around you. Because when you have the healing power within you, you don't have to touch anyone. It's in your auric field. Everyone's electrically connected in a manner, aura to aura, heart to heart. But you've forgotten that, and you look for what we'll call an ego identity. You don't need an ego identity. You already have a self that is the identity. And you're trying to, some beings are trying to, how you say, move into a greaterness than others. There's an equality here that needs to be understood. The equalness of everything. The air that you breathe is there for everyone. You're breathing the same air if you're in the same space. There's consciousness within that air. What is termed the phrase God, the word God, the omnipotent being, is everywhere. And that's why you see life, essentially, is everywhere. It is there. It's in nature doing her thing now. With her, I will say you, her joys. And the human condition happens to be one of nature's greatest joys. Yet there's a disappointment that the mother sees now in the children of the planet Earth. There has been confusion. Satan has reigned too long, and his end is coming. It's in the processes that you are now in. You're actually, the human condition now is going to be able to rise above that satanic influence. And it's been sanctioned by the Father. But you have to understand the significance of thoughts, and the significance of prayer, and the significance of yourself being allowed to think prayerful thoughts, for the peace and the protection and joy for everyone. For in the breath is the joy, truly. For the heart knows what the breath is. There's 4 chambers there. Each chamber has one of the signatures of the names of God in it. And as you breathe through it, you will find in your 2018, the force you call God is walking through you. Walking through the 4 chambers, walking through your breath with you, as you walk a path as yourself, but with the divine influence manifesting within and through you. You don't have to display it, you don't have to say, look at me. You just have to be with it and understand it. And then the humility and the sublime comfort comes to you. Your food will be presented there, you don't know how it's going to happen. But some of you are going to begin to manifest in your hands, literally, what you call the fruits and the nuts. And some of the foods you've been eating, you're going to find that don't qualify for the expression that you're becoming. I said they don't qualify for the expression that you are becoming. And by qualify means they don't suit you. They're not worthy of you when you understand truly what food is for. The worthiness of food is in the worthiness of the natural processes of growing and giving life for others to succeed. That's what plants do. They grow for you to eat. They know they're going to be eaten. And they do it in a manner of respect and dignity because they can continue as life within you. All foods. So you're going to begin to be more discerning in the foods you eat. Not just for what you call the chemical composition or the this and that in it and it's bad for me and it's good for me. You're going to know. And you're going to understand more of the importance of the waters that you drink. Because there's a communication that goes on with the waters. The human condition is 75% water. You think you're more mass, but you're more water. And there's a communication instantly that goes on between waters. In any body, doesn't matter. You put 2 people in a room together, the waters between the 2 people are communicating. It depends upon what you've trained the water in your body to manifest with. And I'm talking about the thoughts now. The peace, protection, and joy. When the waters are at peace, the body's calm. When the waters are at peace, the body's protected. When the waters within you are at peace, the body's within joy. You just have to understand that. And you're going through this in your 2018. You're not going to be so convoluted by words anymore. If words don't have a prayerful beat to them, a signature of the presence of spirit, which is in everyone, you won't be interested in entertaining them. Which is what you do when you have long conversations about nothing. You're entertaining the words and back and forth and the structure of your personal, I want to call belongings that are within you, begin to be shifted. So in a prayerful attitude, your personal belongings that are within you stay in the places that you put them in, and you know where they are. You don't become confused, you don't become lost, you don't become disoriented, which is what is going to begin to happen in 2018. You've already had the experience of walking into a room and wondering why you came to the room. You forgot what you went in there for. There was a thought that came in that interrupted the process of fulfilling the desire for the room you entered. You're going to have to learn to understand and intercept those things. And that's why it's going to be necessary to be calm in a manner to correctly interpret the words of what you call thoughts. But there's beyond words, beyond thought. There's an emotional frequency that tantalizes the water to cause the water to express itself. And that's why you beings talk. Whether you know that or not, it's the water talking. Through the manifestation, it has to go through all the levels of your consciousness, the 7 chakras and things. And some beings get stuck in a chakra. You were taught there were 7, there's more, you're much more. And as you learn the chakra, we're going to call this train, as you learn the chakra train, you can walk a thought up the 7 chakras from the root to the crown, and to understand the necessity for the completion of the desire in a manner for fulfillment of the unity called you. We'll call it that. The unity called you. You're still becoming. You're still becoming. You're still becoming. Jesus, the entity you call Jesus, is the one that taught these things. Yet others took the words and twisted them. He taught simply. He lived and taught simply. He lived and taught simply. He lived and taught simply, which is what the teachings are for. You don't need to run all over the place, yet you feel that is the necessity, or to have a sense of thrill. Well, you've gone through your thrills. You've gone through your thrills. You've gone through your thrills. Look at the hurricanes that are hitting. That's thrilling. It's very terrifying. And the same kind of thing is going to happen to your consciousness, because you don't understand yet, or you're working to understand, that your thoughts manifest. Your thoughts do manifest. The thoughts of consciousness manifest through the waters. Humanity's thoughts of consciousness manifested those hurricanes. Not in a particular direction. I'm not saying that. I'm saying you manifested the twirling force, and it was sent loose. And then your control, you've lost it. You had no control over that thing when it was starting to move, any one of them actually. And the terrifying noise that these storms produce gives you an acknowledgement of the power of the wind. But there's a force there before the wind, and there's a force there after the wind. Difficult times, you don't know if the wind's being pulled or the wind's being pushed. As if someone pulls you or pushes you. The calmness has to come from the heart chakra. And the heart chakra is what you call the base of the soul, which has command of the authority of all of nature. Because you're God's incarnate, but you've forgotten it. And by God's incarnate, I mean you're becoming God's incarnate, and you are supposed to act like it. And that does not mean rule over others. That means allow life to be an expression of itself as it's in its own dignity, understanding in itself. It's called the free will thing. Yeah? Called the free will. You will understand eventually. The understanding of God is within everyone. To have the pro-choice and what you call the processes of divine life while you're walking in consciousness in the 3rd dimension, 4th dimension world. The prayers were given for a reason. They keep your mind alert to the concussions, okay, of the satanic influence. Any resistance you have to Hail Mary, you're finding that resistance is coming from your antagonist. My suggestion is just contemplate Hail Mary and contemplate the Rosary. It was given for a reason. It was given for a reason so your brain could understand the dignity of self-possession of knowledge of the Spirit of God within you. Your own self-possession. No one else telling you. Once you've gone through these things and you begin to understand, you'll find out that you are a dignified child of the mother. And then you're going to find out that involved with the Holy Spirit, which is a whole other thing. It's the little blue sheath that caresses your bones, that produces the blood. So the heart has sustenance, and your body has fluid for consciousness to communicate with itself, and the entities that are within you, and the organs that are within you. You all came from one seed. You beings I'm talking to, and you, the beings within the bodies, and you, the organs within the bodies, came from the same seed. And you were produced and allowed to align yourself, is called in the conjunction of a human being with your kidneys, your lungs, your liver, etc., from one seed. And that one seed came from a thought. And the thought came from desire. And you have to understand the push and the pull involved there. And your acceptance of it and your placement within it, because you were placed there. You didn't have a choice in a manner. Yet in a manner you did. Because you're in the cycle of becoming the understanding of self and the divine influence within all things. God creates everything, within and without. And you're learning that in the process. You too must understand that thing. With gentleness, protection, peace, calmness. You can't any longer influence others in a negative form to produce a satisfaction within yourself. It has to cease, and you're going through that process right now. As you understand, I will say a hurricane leaves a mess. Cleaning up is even more work than the hurricane itself was worked. It destroys all things you had. You start from the beginning again. You do. And how do you do that if you don't have assistance from another? Very difficult, because you lost the God force that you were there with. You need water and you need fire. You need consciousness to understand how to grow your foods. You need consciousness to understand how to prepare for calamities that are coming. You can't be in a dark cloud anymore. These things are becoming more and more. The times to come are here now, that has been said. And you're feeling the goosebumps on that one. So my suggestion to you is to learn some prayers. Some prayers. I suggest the Psalms. There's 150, you don't have to memorize them. I suggest Psalm 6, because that'll help protect you from your antagonists, especially verse 10. You're going to need to really understand the words of the Psalms. There's a force there before the words. There's a force there between the words. And there's a force there in the full construction of the sentence. And there's a force there in the full construction of the psalm. All verses form one force. Each verse forms a separate force. And each word within the psalm forms a separate force. It all comes together. Just like you came together. You're a walking human entity. And you have your features. And you have your appendages. And you have your body. Yeah? They all came together. You're not your left arm, you're not your right arm. You're not your left leg or your right leg. You're not your heart, but you are your heart. There are parts of you that are unified in you. You need your heart, you need your lung, you need your liver, you need your kidneys. You need your things. These are your manifestations from what you call the seed of you, the contemplation. So as you become more being born, because that's what's going to happen in 2018. You're going to feel you're born again, and I'm not talking about born again in a particular religion. I'm talking about a youth sense of consciousness coming. You're going to feel younger if you allow yourself. You're going to feel more ability to breathe easier. You're going to feel less oppression. You're going to feel less anxious. You're not going to have such a desire for this money thing, because you've seen the money thing, what it's done. It can be taken away in a moment. It can be taken away in a moment. And then you have no self. Because the idea and the worship and the idol that you worship is gone. The money thing. But you still have you. And you have the divine eternal Father with you. You have the Mother there with you. And you have the Holy Spirit within you. And you're going to need to understand these consciousnesses. You're going to need to understand that you have an ability that has not been used yet significantly enough, and that ability is to pray. And you're going to have to learn how to pray within each chakra. You're going to have to learn the 7 notes of the chakra. You're going to have to learn the beat of the chakras. You walk the steps of the chakras in your prayers with the words up. And when you say Amen, you should be at the crown chakra, which sends it up in what you call an elevator of light to the divine, requesting assistance, because all prayers are requests for assistance, because you forgot. In the manner, the command comes from the Lord God of your being, which is the soul within you, It has been misappropriately used, and it had also been, in a manner, condemned by your leaders, your so-called leaders. You are your own leader, and you've got to have to understand that now, because the breath is yours, the blood is yours, and the 75% of you that walking around in water is yours. You're going to have to understand the consciousness of water. You're going to have to understand the blessings of water. You're going to have to bless your water. You're going to have to be thankful for the water. And the biggest thing you're going to have to learn in 2018 is the thankfulness for all things. I said the thankfulness for all things. The thankfulness for your mother, the thankfulness for your father, the thankfulness for your relatives, the thankfulness for your body, the thankfulness for the air, the thankfulness for the food, the thankfulness for the presence of nature and the trees and the animals. You're going to have to begin to walk with a thankful attitude. And I don't mean to say have to. You don't have to. But the suggestion is walk with a thankful attitude. And then you'll find that the responses to you and your questionings and your desires for things become more apparent, become quicker, and become, in a manner, challenging, because they may come too fast. So you'll need to slow them down. I mean, you're going to practice that buffer routine, which is what you're going through in your timing, or have gone through, I should say, in your October, November, and December. You're learning the buffering process. And you're going to begin to understand the appreciation of nature and life itself. Life itself, that is everywhere. It's between the trees. It's between you and the birds. It's between you and the snakes. It's between you and the animals. It's between you and the clouds. That's life there. And there's life in the clouds. There's life above the clouds, in a manner of understanding. And there's life within you that you're calling the clouds, you're calling the creatures, and you're acknowledging all things as part of yourself. And once you've done that, you begin to understand the ability to be at peace, the ability to be comforted, the ability to be without pain, and the ability to see and express a desire as you see fit and call the nature of your own kingdom. Because what is beginning to happen is you're all going to be placed in a place called perseverance and preservation in your 2018. Things are going to begin to happen that you've read about, you haven't seen, maybe some of you have, and I'm talking about the extraterrestrial activity. You're going to have to understand that in a manner of not fearful understanding, and also not manner they're here to rescue you. You're all part of the same life system. Okay? It's just a different level of college, so to speak. You go to school, then you go to high school, and then you go to college, and then you go out into the what you call the world to express the understanding that you gained through the schools. Same thing is going on now. The school process is what you would term ready elevation to go to another level, and that other level does not mean a control level of other beings. That means an understanding that you are in the process of forming the ability to manifest for yourself in peaceful manner and others, in what you call the helpful thing. But you can't interfere. You can't intervene. You can't force. You can understand this phrase, ask permission to enter. You need to ask permission for things, even to heal someone else, because healing is going to become a very big thing in the instantaneous portion of it. But you have to ask permission to do that, because there's many, many beings involved in the healing process, not just the one you're looking at, but the ones that come in consciousness within that one, that's trying to help in a manner elevate that one, and also there are ones that come in to try to not elevate. So you're going to have to learn to be in a, what I call prayerful attitude. And that's why I say prayers are for the words. And remember the words, you'll get an alignment that you'll begin to understand more of yourself. And you, I'm going to say it this way, be put in a position to know what you're doing and understanding what you're doing. The blessings of the Father and the Mother are coming in 2018. The worthiness of receiving those blessings is the necessity to understand that you are a worthy being alive, and you possess moral character, And it's the development of that moral character that's coming forth, that's going to sustain itself and others as you proceed. The 2018 is going to be very interesting in what you understand, the ability for telepathy, ability to receive what you call your news media without the screens, because that information is already in the air entities. How do you think it gets here? It's in the air. Your radio broadcast, they're in the air. Those frequencies are screaming through what you call the cities and counties and things. It's in the air. And your antennas pick it up. Well, you have an antenna, and you can use your antenna to pick that up if you wish, or use your antenna to pick something up that's higher. And you're going through this understanding now. Your electronics are here to introduce you to the speed of communication. Speed of communication. Your phones and your things, you can call on the other side of the planet instantly when the system's up. Talk to someone thousands of miles away. You can do that telepathically. You can do that in your spirit world. And you're learning to understand that processes. You're learning to understand that even spirits that have left your world are there trying to communicate with you. Some trying to influence in what you call a positive way, some in a negative way. But you're going to go through this understanding. And there's no need to die to find out. You can do it right now. Just like there's no need to go to a war to meet God. That's not necessary. You can do it in your own home with prayers and supplications. And you're going to have to understand truly the dignity of the words within the prayers, because these prayers were given and have been used for centuries before even written words. There were harmonics of vibratory divine love being spread and lowered into what you call word form for the lower creatures, which is the human condition right now. So you're going to move beyond this and going to move into a more less controlled environment from others controlling you. You're going to have more spiritual freedom, I will say that, and understand what this thing called worship of idols are. You have statues of the Mary and statues of Jesus and statues of Joseph and these beings. The reason those statues look the way they look is so you remember what these beings look like when they come, what they show up as. That's what those statues are for. So you give you a memory of it. So when it happens, and it's already started to happen, the Virgin Mother is beginning to appear. She's appeared over the waters now. When you see that, you'll remember the image of the statue, because it reminds you, you will know who it is. You will know who it is, because the statue reminded you what it was. But she's a living being. Right? That's what those statues are for. That you have some beings in this, what you call, concept of worshiping idols, that are not understanding the true measure of what they're doing. But I won't get into that now. You have bones, which are structures to maintain a harmonic of your tone. And your tone is the result of the 7 chakras uniting. You are basically a singing instrument without even saying anything. And once the chakras unite, your tone is there and you vibrate the color of your tone. It's coming from your bones. It's coming from the solar plexus. It's coming from the base of the soul, which is the important electrical connection you have with the divine. And you can feel this information in the left side of your heart chakra. And it moves up to the thoracic, so the soul, what you call the throat chakra. And that movement is called the movement of thankfulness for the knowledge of it within yourself. You don't have to share it with anyone. And be careful of some of the things you share, because you need to maintain some little secret box within you that knows what you're doing. It's got its own little lock and key that no one can enter but you. It's called the privileged state of self. And then there's an entity that will work through your, what you call your 6th seal and the crown chakra, that allow you the experience of opening it within a divine presence. But that's yet to come, probably within your June, July of next year, the 2018 year. Okay, blessings to all ones, peace to all ones. I particularly recommend Psalm 6. And the question to who's speaking is Ariel, A-R-I-E-L. We're one of the, under the command of Archangel Uriel, as you would say, for the force is too strong to be visited upon the planet right now. Okay, blessings and peace to all beings, blessings and peace to all beings, peace, protection, and joy. We wish you calmness, perpetual love, joy, and understanding in your 2018. We are through.